Welcome, it's California Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We're in Sacramento today, and we are joined by Jacqui Irwin. She is a member of the California State Assembly, a new member. We congratulate you on your victory. You come from the Thousand Oaks City Council, and now you're in Sacramento, a larger body. You went from, I think, 5 to 80, is that right?
That's right.
How's your new job, Madam Jacqui Irwin? How's it going?
Oh, it's really very, very exciting. There's so many different issues at the state level that we haven't necessarily seen at the local level, and I'm meeting a lot of great people, and I'm really excited about representing the 44th district.
Obviously, you're just a few weeks into this, but that being said, how different is it? You know, you went from 5 with the Brown Act, so you really couldn't talk to each other. And now you have 80 where you can engage in a lot of conversation, lots of committee hearings, lots of events at night. What do you feel? What do you see?
Well, you know, there's a big difference between local government where you're at the grocery store and everybody knows you, and then they come to the city council meeting on Tuesday night, and now obviously we're not dealing with our residents on a daily basis. But I think one of the biggest things I've seen is that the pace is so accelerated here. I'm scheduling meetings every 15 or 20 minutes, and that's a lot different than serving at the local level and having coffee with constituents for an hour and a half while you're talking about their specific local issue. But I feel like I'm well prepared, having served at the local level, and have really enjoyed the last few weeks. I've hired all my staff. I have great staff, and we're really looking to get things done.
So the blessing and the curse of term limits is that when you enter the Assembly or you enter the Senate, you could become a chairman. You could become a chairwoman. You could become a vice chair. And you've become a chairwoman. Yes. You are already the chair of the Veterans Affairs Committee.
Yes.
Which I'm sure is incredibly exciting and very important for your district, which is essentially South Ventura County.
Right. It's term limits. I think really the 12-year term limits it's really going to change things. People are going to take their time. I think be much more thoughtful about legislation that they introduce. So I think that's the big blessing. But we still have 6-year members, and
from the old term limit regime.
Exactly, and I think probably 2/3 of the members have served less than 2 years, or right at 2 years. So. I think it's going to be much better. But running. I just had a meeting yesterday. How to run a committee?
Right, you're the chair,
and I'm the chair, and it's all very fast paced and a big learning curve right now to try to get up on things.
Do you have a sense as to what issues will be important under your chair as the head of Veterans Affairs? Are there certain issues already percolating? We know on the federal level there was the VA scandal, but that's not specific to Sacramento.
Well, we have a lot of issues that we can look at, and again, I'm really excited because Ventura County, we have a military base and a lot of veterans there. I think one of the big things we have to make sure is that our men and women that served our country get hooked up with the federal resources that they have, the benefits that they're entitled to, and we're going to work very hard to make sure that happen. A lot of our vets are not getting the resources that they need. The other thing is jobs. It's a big issue for our vets to move forward to have jobs, and so we're going to be focusing on that. We're looking at educational outcomes. There is a big opportunity for them to go to school, but we see that the outcomes are not really where they should be right now. So what can we do as state legislators to improve those outcomes? And then on another level, we're going to look at some of the scams that are being perpetrated upon our veterans and see if there's anything we can do legislative-wise to make sure that doesn't happen.
You mentioned education, and we know that this year is better than last, and last year better than the year before in terms of funding in our great state. You know, it's a nice time to enter the state assembly when the money is there. You know, we're more flush with cash. The governor has proposed his budget. It is already offering an increase for K-12. But you know, even before you arrived, there seemed to be kind of a stare down between the governor and the head of the University of California system, Janet Napolitano. She had been governor of Arizona, head of the Homeland Security Department. we all want to support our children, but we have the battle of titans. Where do we go with this issue?
Well, that's a really difficult question. I do think the number one priority in California is education, so I was happy to see the increased funding for K-12 and all the opportunities with the local control funding formula. UC, higher education, UC, Cal State, that is just crucial to the survival of our state. In the last couple of weeks, I've been able to meet with the biotech industry and with people in Silicon Valley. And the reason they are here is because of our workforce, and that means we need to have a very strong UC system. We need to support that UC. We need to support the Cal State system. So I think we really need to look at ways to increase funding to make sure that they can continue to churn out those top students. Those are our innovators and our job creators, and they allow us to have those thriving industries here.
But at this stage, I think the governor, and I'm just reading this myself, he's frustrated with how the UC trustees have voted in favor of a tuition increase for the next 5 years, ending at basically 28% bump in 5 years. And in his proposed budget, he has said, well, I have more money for you, UC system, but if you increase tuition, I'm not going to support giving you more money. So this really is a contest.
Well, the tuition increase that was proposed is incredibly high and unreasonable. And my son went to UC Irvine over those 5 years that he went. I think tuition increased 50%. So we need to make sure that a college education doesn't bankrupt a family.
And it's so interesting you mentioned 5 years, because it used to be a joke, oh, I'm on the 5-year plan. But your son's of the age where he's lucky he got out in 5 years. It was so very difficult to get the classes that you needed to graduate in 5 years. And so are we at a state now, and again, I know you're just new to Sacramento, where we can allow our students to graduate in the 4 years? Is the funding there, or should we make it as such that this is a priority, completion in 4 years as a priority?
Well, if we're talking about keeping the total cost of college down, we really need to make sure that our students are able to graduate in 4 years and able to get the classes they need to graduate in 4 years. There's even talk of reducing the amount of time in college so that you don't end up with these huge debt loads at the end. So there are a lot of things that I think we should all be looking at, but the bottom line is still that funding higher education is absolutely crucial, and whether that means slightly increasing tuition or it means increasing funding from the budget, we need to look at all those solutions. And is money being spent effectively? That's something I think that the speaker sort of alluded to. But are we getting the most bang for the buck there?
I think it's easy for Californians to forget, because we've had rain recently, that we are still facing a dramatic drought. And when I think about your district, the 44th district, Ventura County, water is pivotal. Ag is a significant driver in your district. And even though we've had rain, I've learned it's just a drop in the bucket. We're not on the other side of our drought. So now that you're here, what have you learned? Where do we go as we continue to combat the drought that plagues us?
Well, certainly a few days of rain isn't going to solve the problem. And luckily the water bond passed. I think there are going to be a lot of good project proposals coming forward, and we need to make sure that we spend that money very carefully so that we can make sure to withstand the next drought. But in Ventura County, we're looking at a lot of innovative ways to save money. Farmers are trying to save water through different technologies. We're looking at...
You told me about some of those that are homegrown technologies. The last time we spoke, I can't remember what they were, but
there's the potential of wood char, and that acts kind of like a sponge and can reduce the amount of water use. But we're also looking at desalination and reuse of wastewater. We have to be looking at a comprehensive way to address the water problem. And the state, it's a very complicated place, and everybody needs to look at different ways of solving the water issue. But it's something that we need to continue to focus on.
She is on her way. She is Jacqui Irwin. She is a member of the California State Assembly. My name is Brad Pomerance, coming to you from Sacramento on California Edition.